The sun was setting behind the red mountains of planet Ravenine. The sky looked like fire, with orange and purple clouds stretching far across the horizon. A cool wind passed over the rocks, and dust and small sand flakes danced in the air. It was quiet to quiet, but Mira liked it this way. She was a 16-year-old girl from the human colony called Haven Post, the only settlement on this dry and forgotten world. Most people stayed close to the colony. There wasn't much out here, no rivers, no forests. Just rocks, wind, and ancient silence. But Mira was not like most people. She loved to explore. Carrying a small backpack and wearing a brown dust cloak, Mira walked alone through a narrow canyon. Her boots crunched on the dry stone. She had been out for hours, following an old signal her scanner had picked up. The signal was weak, almost like a whisper from the past. Still, it was enough to catch her curiosity. Her father, a mechanic, always told her, "Don't wander too far, Mira. Ravenine is old. It holds secrets better left buried." But Mira didn't believe in scary stories. She believed in discovery. As she climbed a small ridge, the land suddenly opened wide in front of her. She gasped. A massive crater stretched across the valley like a wound in the earth. It was at least half a mile wide, maybe more. At the center stood a broken stone pillar, covered in strange symbols that glowed faintly, even in the fading light. "This wasn't on the colony maps," Mira whispered. She pulled out her scanner, a small, handheld device with a flickering screen. It beeped slowly as she pointed it toward the crater. Energy readings, old and weak, were still coming from inside. Who built this? She wondered aloud. And why? The wind began to rise. Mira felt dust brushing her face, and she knew a sandstorm was coming. Looking around, she saw a rocky outcrop with an opening like a cave entrance. She ran toward it, covering her face with her cloak. The cave was dry and cool. The wind howled outside, but she was safe inside. She turned on her small lantern and looked around. The walls were smooth, not natural. Someone had carved them long ago. As she walked deeper, her footsteps echoed softly. Strange carvings were etched into the wall, shapes that looked like stars, wings, and something that looked almost like a dragon's eye. She touched one of the symbols. It pulsed softly under her fingers. Suddenly, she heard a sound, a breath, very faint but deep, like a sleeping mountain. Mira froze. Her heart raced. Was it just the wind? She waited and heard it again. A slow, deep breath. She moved forward, holding her lantern high. The cave opened into a wide chamber. At the center was something massive, something covered in dust and vines and old stone. It looked like a statue at first. But then it moved. A great head, shaped like a dragon, rested on the ground. Its eyes were shut, and its body stretched far back into the shadows. Its scales were cracked like dry earth, and its wings were folded tight against its sides. Metallic parts were woven into its body, as if it was part machine, part creature. Mira stepped back, but something held her in place. She didn't feel fear. She felt wonder. The creature moved again, just a little. Its mouth opened, and a voice came out, dry, weak, and low. "Water," it said. After so long, Mira's hands trembled. She reached into her bag and pulled out her water flask. It was nearly full. She walked forward slowly. "Are you alive?" she asked. The dragon opened one eye, glowing golden light, flickering like a candle. "You are human," it said. "Strange, so long. And now, a child brings light." "I'm not a child," Mira said. Her voice was small, but steady. "And you look like you need help." The dragon tried to lift its head but failed, trapped, starved, forgotten. For 3,000 years, no voice, no light, no drop of water. Until now. Mira stepped closer. Then here, she held out the flask. The dragon looked at it, then gently opened its mouth. She poured a few drops onto its tongue. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, a soft hum filled the cave. Light began to glow from the cracks in the dragon's body, soft gold and deep blue. His wings twitched. The vines around him began to wither and fall. The energy in the room changed. It felt warmer. Alive. The dragon let out a long, deep sigh. Thank you, small human, he said. I am Jern, last of the flame-born, and you have given me life once more. Mira looked at him with wide eyes. Jern, what are you? A keeper of old stars, he said. A prisoner of silence, a shadow of what was. But now, maybe more. Outside, the storm raged across the valley. But inside the cave, something ancient had awakened, and Mira knew, without any doubt, that her life and perhaps all of humanity had just changed forever. The storm outside the cave had calmed by morning, leaving the red dust settling gently on the rocks. Mira woke with the soft glow of the rising sun filtering through the cave entrance. She looked over at Jern, the giant dragon lying quietly on the cold stone floor. His golden eye was open, watching her with a faint light. Mira felt both excited and nervous. The dragon was real, not a machine or a statue alive, but weak. His massive body showed signs of great age. Cracks ran along his scales like dry earth, and pieces of metal were embedded in his skin. Yet, there was a soft warmth in the cave. Coming from him, she took a deep breath. Jern, she said softly, can you tell me how you came here? Why were you trapped? The dragon's glowing eye blinked slowly. His voice was rough, but calm. Long ago, my kind ruled the skies, he said. We were the flame-born. We traveled among stars and galaxies, carrying fire and light where darkness grew. But a cruel empire rose hungry for power and control. They feared us because we would not bow. They captured me and cast me here to die. Mira sat down a little away from him. How long have you been here? 3,000 years. Jern whispered. No food, no drink, no freedom. Mira's heart ached. 3,000 years? That was longer than her people had been on this planet. But you are still alive, she said. How is that possible? The dragon looked at her, a faint smile on his cracked lips. Flame-born are not like others. Our fire burns deep inside our bones and spirit, even without fuel. Some light remains, enough to wait, enough to hope. Mira looked at her own hands. Hope, I want to help you, Jern. Can you move? Jern tried to lift his head. It was heavy, and his wings twitched weakly. My strength is gone, he said, but your kindness fuels my spirit. I feel fire returning, slow but steady. Mira nodded. She took out her ration pack and pulled some dried fruit. Here, it's not much, but it might help. Jern sniffed the fruit. Food, strange taste. He slowly bit into it. The light in his eyes grew brighter. Mira smiled. They stayed in the cave for hours. Mira told Jern about humanity, their rise from a small blue planet called Earth, their travels to stars, and the colony on Rava-9.zhur, and listened with fascination. You are young, but strong, and you are old, but brave, Mira replied. Suddenly, the scanner in Mira's hand beeped loudly. She looked outside. In the distance, small flying machines were moving toward the canyon. Scouts from the colony. Jern, Mira whispered, you have to hide. They don't understand you yet. The dragon's eye narrowed. I am not ready, but I will try. Mira led him deeper into the cave, where the shadows grew darker and cooler. Jern's large wings folded around him like a shield. Why did you not fly away? Mira asked. I could not, Jern said quietly. My wings are weak. My fire is small. The scouts arrived at the cave mouth. Mira stepped forward, raising her hands. Hello, I'm Mira from Haven Post. There's nothing dangerous here. One scout's voice came through a comm device. We detected energy readings. Are you alone? Yes, Mira said firmly. Just me. I found an old place. No life here. The scouts hesitated, then left. Mira sighed in relief. That was close. Jern's eye glowed softly. You are brave, human. You risk yourself for me. Mira shook her head. I don't see it like that. I think you deserve help, maybe. You can teach us things we don't know. Jern's voice grew stronger. I hold knowledge from stars older than your history. Maps of forgotten worlds, secrets of energy, paths to new galaxies. Mira's eyes widened. Then we must protect you, together, as days passed. Mira visited the cave every morning and evening. She brought water, food, and books from the colony. Jern listened, absorbing stories and knowledge like a thirsty. Fire. One night, Jern spoke with a softer tone. Mira, when I flew once, the sky was my home. Now, it feels distant and strange. Maybe, Mira said, we can help you fly again, slowly. Jern smiled faintly. You are a light in darkness, Mira. Suddenly, a sharp noise echoed outside. Footsteps, voices. The scouts were returning with more people. Mira's heart pounded. We don't have much time. Jern's eye glowed bright gold. I will try to stand. With great effort, he lifted his heavy head. The cave shook slightly. Dust fell from the ceiling. Mira held his claw. I'm here. We'll get through this. The scouts reached the cave entrance and stopped, staring in shock at the giant dragon. One scout whispered, Is that real? A dragon? Jern's voice filled the cave, strong and clear. I'm Jern, last flame born. I ask for peace, not war. Mira stepped forward, her voice steady. He is not a threat. He needs help. The scouts hesitated but lowered their weapons. Jern looked at Mira, gratitude shining in his glowing eyes. Together, human and dragon faced the uncertain future, one filled with hope, danger, and new beginnings. The days after Jern's awakening passed slowly. The colony's people were curious and afraid. But Mira stood by the dragon's side, showing everyone his gentle strength. Jern could not fly yet, nor move easily. His body was still weak, from 3,000 years of silence and hunger. Every morning, Mira brought fresh water and food she carefully prepared for him. She watched the dragon closely, learning his rhythms, his breaths, and how his cracked scales slowly began to shimmer with new light. One afternoon, as the sun rose high and the heat pressed down on the canyon, Mira sat near Jern, the dragon's great head rested on his folded claws, his eye closed in rest. Jern, Mira said softly, Can you tell me about the Flameborn? What made you so special? Jern opened one golden eye and looked at her with warmth. We were born from stars, he said. Our fire was not just heat or light, it was life. We carried the energy of old suns inside us. This made us strong and wise. We could fly between worlds, protect the weak, and bring light to darkness. Mira nodded. Like heroes, more than heroes, Jern replied, guardians. But pride and fear led to our fall. The Empire saw us as threats, and they hunted. US with machines and weapons powered by cold logic. They trapped me here, hoping my fire would die. Mira looked at the dragon's warm wings, torn and covered in metal patches. But your fire did not die. You survived, yes, Jern said, because hope lives in hearts. Even when flames are weak, Mira smiled. Then I will keep your hope alive. Suddenly, Jern's eye flickered with pain. He tried to rise but fell back slowly. Mira stood quickly. You heard my fire. It is low, he said. I need more. Water alone is not enough. I must drink from the ancient spring beneath this planet. Mira's eyes widened. The ancient spring? But no one has seen water here for centuries. The planet is dry. Jern closed his eye, struggling to speak. The Empire blocked the flow. They buried the spring beneath stone and dust, but it still flows. If I drink from it, my fire will grow. My strength will return. Mira's heart beat faster. Then we must find it. I will help. That night, Mira and Jern planned their journey. Mira's scanner showed a faint signal deep under the crater floor. It was old but still alive. The spring. Mira packed supplies, water, food, a rope, and light torches. Jern tried to stand again, with more success this time. His wings stretched wide, but he did not fly. He walked slowly beside Mira, careful and steady. They moved toward the center of the crater, where strange symbols glowed faintly on the stone floor. Mira's torch showed ancient writing around the edges, warnings or clues. The Empire hid the spring here, Jern said, but the magic of the Flameborn still protects it. They found a large stone door covered in vines and dust. Mira pushed with all her strength, but it did not move. Jern touched the door with one claw. The symbols glowed brighter. Only the fire of the Flameborn can open this gate, he said. He lowered his head and tried to breathe fire. A small flame flickered weakly from his mouth. Mira cheered softly. You're getting stronger. Zhurn's flame grew, and the stone door cracked. Slowly, it slid open, revealing a dark tunnel leading down into the earth together. They entered the tunnel. The air was cool and damp. Water dripped from the walls. After walking for what felt like hours, they reached a vast cavern. In the center, a pool of clear, blue water shimmered under glowing crystals. Zhurn's eye lit up. The ancient spring, life after death. He moved closer and lowered his head. Mira held her breath. Zhurn drank deeply. The water flowed into him like fire itself. His scales glowed brighter. His wings stretched longer. And his breathing grew steady. The cavern filled with warm light. Mira smiled. You're alive again, Zhurn. He looked at her with deep gratitude. Because of your kindness. Little human, you saved me from endless night. Suddenly, the ground trembled. Rocks shifted. And the tunnel began to close. We must leave. Mira shouted. Zhurn stood tall, wings wide. He helped Mira climb up the rocky walls as the cave collapsed behind them. Outside, the stars began to shine. The night was calm, but the future was no longer dark. Mira looked at the dragon, strong and alive. Your fire is back, she said. Zhurn nodded, and with it, a new journey begins. The sun rose slowly over the red mountains, casting long shadows across the rocky ground. Mira walked carefully back to the colony, her heart pounding with excitement and worry. Zhurn's strength was growing every day, but the dangers outside the cave were becoming real. The people of Haven Post had begun to notice strange energy readings near the crater. Scouts were sent to investigate. Mira knew she had to be careful. That morning, as Mira approached the cave, she heard voices. Keep watch here, one scout said. If anything strange appears, report immediately. Mira's breath caught. She crouched behind a large boulder, watching the small group move near the cave entrance. Inside, Zhurn lay quietly, resting. His wings stretched wide now, covered in shimmering scales that caught the light. His eye opened slowly as Mira entered. They are close, she whispered. Zhurn nodded. I can feel their fear. They do not know what I am. Mira sat beside him. They might be afraid of what they don't understand, but you are not dangerous. Zhurn's gaze softened. Your kindness teaches me much, human. I am learning what it means to trust. Mira smiled, feeling warmth spread inside her. We can teach each other. The scouts were not far. Their radios crackled with urgent voices. Mira knew it was only a matter of time before they discovered Zhurn. That night, Mira decided to take a risk. She brought more food and water for Zhurn, and she talked to him about the stars. You said the Flameborn travel between galaxies. Mira said, Did you see many worlds? Zhurn's eye glowed softly. Yes, worlds full of light, shadow, and life. Some kind, some cruel. The Empire tried to control them all. Mira listened closely. What happened to the Empire? They fell. Zhurn said, but their machines still roam. Their power sleeps, waiting to wake. Mira shivered. Do you think they will come here? Zhurn's wings twitched. It is possible. They know I am awake. A sudden noise outside made Mira jump. The scouts have found the cave entrance. We must hide you, Mira said quickly. Come with me. Zhurn struggled to stand but managed. Together, they moved deeper into the cave. Past narrow tunnels Mira had never explored. The deeper shadows felt like a new world. Strange symbols and glowing stones lined the walls. Mira's torch flickered as she led the way. At the end of the tunnel, they found a large chamber filled with old machines and broken devices. The Empire's technology, left behind but still humming with power. Zhurn's eye brightened. These are pieces of the past. I remember them. Mira walked closer to a tall machine covered in dust. Can these help you? Zhurn nodded. They hold energy and knowledge. With time, they might restore my strength. Suddenly, the sound of footsteps echoed from the cave entrance. Hide, Mira whispered. Zhurn crouched behind a broken machine. Mira pressed herself against the wall, holding her breath. The scouts entered cautiously, their light sweeping across the chamber. "Nothing here," one said. "Just old ruins." Mira's heart raced. She wanted to call out, to tell them the truth, but she stayed silent. After a few tense moments, the scouts left. Jern stood slowly. "That was close." Mira smiled. "We need a plan. If they come back with more people, it won't be easy to keep you safe." Jern looked thoughtful. "I must fly again. My wings grow stronger, but not enough. I need more fire, more life." Mira nodded. "Maybe the knowledge here can help." Days passed as Mira and Jern studied the ancient machines. With each visit, the dragon's fire grew warmer, and his wings stretched farther. One morning, Mira found Jern practicing small flights inside the cave. He rose a few feet, then landed softly. "You're doing it," Mira cheered. Jern smiled. "Thanks to you." But their joy was short-lived. News came from the colony that a larger group of soldiers was being sent to investigate the strange energy near the crater. Mira knew it was time. "We must prepare," she told Jern. "They won't stop until they understand what you are." Jern nodded. "Then I will face them. But with your help." Together, they made a plan. Mira would talk to the colony leaders, explain that Jern meant no harm and carried knowledge that could help humanity grow. Jern would show them his power, but only if necessary. The day came. Mira stood before the council, her voice strong and clear. "This dragon, Jern, is a friend," she said. "He is a guardian from the stars, not a threat. He can help us learn and protect our future." The leaders listened, some with doubt, others with hope. Suddenly, alarms sounded. The soldiers were approaching fast. Outside, Jern waited, his wings spread wide, his eyes burning with fire and light. The colony held its breath. Mira stepped forward. "Trust me." Jern took flight, rising above the red rocks. His powerful wings beat the air as he soared higher. The soldiers stopped, watching in awe. Jern's voice echoed over the canyon. "I seek peace. I carry the fire of the old stars. Let us be allies, not enemies." Slowly, the soldiers lowered their weapons. Mira smiled, tears in her eyes. The silence was broken. A new story had begun. The days after Jern's flight were full of wonder and change. The people of Haven Post could no longer ignore the presence of the great dragon. Many were afraid, but many were also curious. They came to see him not as a monster, but as a being of ancient power and wisdom. Mira stayed close to Jern, guiding him through this new world of humans who had never seen such a creature. She helped him learn the ways of their society, their rules, their fears, and their hopes. Jern, in return, shared stories of the stars, of distant galaxies where the flame-born once soared freely. His voice was deep and warm, carrying the echoes of a time long past. One afternoon, Mira led Jern to the colony's central hall. The leaders had invited him to speak, to share his knowledge and vision. The hall was filled with people, their faces a mix of awe and uncertainty. Mira stood by Jern's side as he spoke. "I carry the fire of the old suns," Jern began. "With it, I can help your people, but I also seek friendship. Trust is the flame that burns brightest." The leaders listened carefully. Some nodded in understanding. Others still hesitated. After the meeting, a council member named Lauren approached Mira. "You have done well, Mira," he said, "but the colony fears what it does not understand. They need proof that Jern is not a threat." Mira nodded. "He will show them." That evening, Mira and Jern prepared for a demonstration in the open canyon. Under the setting sun, Jern stretched his mighty wings. With a deep breath, he breathed a stream of gentle fire that danced like a golden river. In the air, the crowd watched, amazed. The fire did not burn the rocks or the ground. Instead, it warmed the air and lit up the canyon walls in beautiful patterns. A child clapped with joy. Others smiled. Jern's fire was not a weapon, it was a gift. As the night grew darker, Mira and Jern sat by a campfire. Mira asked, "Do you think they will accept you now?" Jern looked at the stars. "They are learning. So am I." Suddenly, a message came from the colony's outer borders. Scouts had found strange signs, tracks of machines unlike any they had seen before. Jern's eye narrowed. the Empire's remnants, Mira felt a chill. They're coming. The next days were tense, the colony prepared for possible attack. Mira worked with Zhurin to strengthen their defenses. The dragon's fire could protect them. But the machines from the Empire were clever and dangerous. One evening, Mira found Zhurin staring at the horizon. "Do you remember your home among the stars?" she asked gently. Zhurin nodded. "I dream of it. But now, my place is here with you." Mira smiled. "You're not alone anymore." The night passed quietly, but the next morning, alarms rang through the colony. The Empire's machines had arrived. Metal beasts rolled over the rocky ground, their eyes glowing red. They were cold and silent, built only for destruction. Zhurin roared, a deep sound that shook the earth. "Protect the colony!" Mira shouted. Zhurin flew into battle. His fire blazed bright, melting metal and stopping the machines. The people of Haven Post joined in, using their tools and weapons to defend their home. The battle was fierce. Zhurin's strength grew with every moment, his wings strong and his fire unstoppable. But the machines were many. Mira called out, "Zhurin, the ancient spring. Drink more fire." Zhurin dived toward the crater, where the sacred water still glowed beneath the earth. He drank deeply, and his fire burned brighter than ever. Returning to the fight, Zhurin's flames danced like a star's heart, and the machines fell one by one. When the last machine stopped moving, the colony cheered. Zhurin landed beside Mira. "Tired but victorious, you saved us," Mira said, tears in her eyes. "No," Zhurin replied. "We saved each other." From that day, the bond between the dragon and the humans grew stronger. They learned to trust, to hope, and to dream of a future where fire and earth stood together. The battle with the Empire's machines had left the colony shaken, but hopeful. The people of Haven Post had seen the power and kindness of Zhurin, the ancient dragon. Slowly, walls of fear began to break down, replaced by curiosity and respect. Mira walked beside Zhurin one morning, the soft light of dawn casting a golden glow over the red rocks. Birds sang quietly, and the air was fresh with the promise of a new day. "You have changed many hearts," Mira said, "but some still doubt you." Zhurin's glowing eye looked toward the horizon. "Trust is built like fire. It starts small and grows with care." Mira smiled. "Then we have work to do." Together, they visited the homes of the colony's people. Mira spoke of friendship, courage, and hope. Zhurin shared stories of the stars, teaching children about worlds beyond their own. One evening, as they sat by the campfire, a council member named Talon approached. "We must prepare for the future," he said. "The Empire may return, but with Zhurin's fire and our strength, we can build something new." Mira nodded. "A future where we stand together." The colony began to change. They built stronger walls, new machines, and gardens that bloomed in the dry soil. Zhurin helped them with his fire, warming the earth and lighting the way. But the greatest change was in the hearts of the people. They saw Zhurin not as a beast, but as a guardian, a friend. One day, a messenger arrived from a nearby settlement. "They want to meet Zhurin," he said. "They have heard of his fire and his courage." Mira and Zhurin prepared for the journey. They traveled across rocky plains and deep valleys, carrying hope and peace with them. When they reached the settlement, they were welcomed with cautious smiles. The leader, a woman named Rena, stepped forward. "We have heard your story," she said. "Our people fear the Empire's return. Will you help us?" Zhurin lowered his head. "Together, we can stand against darkness." Mira stepped beside him. "We want to build a future where all can live in peace." The people of the settlement looked at each other, then nodded. Over the following weeks, Mira and Zhurin worked. With the new friends, they shared knowledge, built defenses, and planted seeds of hope. At night, Mira and Zhurin would talk under the stars. "Do you miss your home?" Mira asked. Zhurin smiled softly. "The stars will always be my home. But now, Earth is where my heart lives." Mira reached out and touched his warm claw. "And we are your family." Their journey was far from over. The Empire's shadows still lingered, and challenges awaited. But with fire and earth united, they were ready to face whatever came next. The colony of Haven Post was no longer the small, quiet place it once was. It had grown stronger and wiser, filled with hope and unity. Jurin, the ancient dragon, had become a symbol of this new beginning. His fire was not just a power of destruction, but a light of life and friendship. Mira stood beside Jurin at the edge of the crater, watching the sunrise paint the sky in pink and gold. The morning air was cool, and the world felt full of promise. "Do you remember the first time you woke here?" Mira asked gently. Jurin's eyes shone with warmth. "I was old and weak, but you gave me hope. Your kindness rekindled my fire." Mira smiled. "And now, your fire lights our path." The peace they had built was fragile. The Empire's remnants still lingered in the shadows beyond the mountains, waiting for a chance to strike. One day, a scout returned with urgent news. "A large fleet approaches," he said, breathless. "They come to reclaim what they lost." Mira's heart tightened. "We must prepare." Together, Jurin roared, a sound that echoed through the valleys. "I will protect this world." The colony rallied. People worked day and night, building defenses and readying supplies. Jurin trained with Mira and the others, strengthening his wings and fire. But more than that, he inspired them. "We do not fight because we want war," Jurin told the people. "We fight to protect our home, our friends, and the future we build." The day of the battle came. The sky darkened as the fleet arrived, ships like silver birds flying low over the mountains. The people of Haven Post stood united. Jurin took to the sky, flames burning bright, his wings cutting through the clouds. The Empire's ships fired, beams of cold light. But Jurin's fire was warmer and stronger. He flew through their ranks, melting metal and breaking their lines on the ground. Mira led the people, guiding them with courage and hope. The battle was long and fierce, but the spirit of the colony did not break. In the final moment, Jurin soared high and unleashed a great burst of fire that lit the sky like a new sun. The Empire's fleet was driven back, defeated and broken. The colony cheered. Peace returned. After the battle, Mira and Jurin stood once more at the crater's edge. "We have won. But this is only the beginning," Mira said. Jurin nodded. "A new flame burns now, one of friendship and hope." Mira reached out and took Jurin's claw. "Together, we will keep it alive." As the sun rose higher, its light filled the world with warmth. The dragon and the girl looked forward to the future, ready to face whatever came next side by side. The ancient fire had found a new home. And so, the story of the old and weak alien dragon and the kind human girl became a legend of hope, unity, and the power of kindness across the stars.